Fashion fads that spark controversy are nothing new in the world of clothing, but there has never been a pair of shoes that has been received with such a divided reception as Crocs. Over the course of more than 20 years, the clog that has holes like Swiss cheese has amassed legions of loyal followers as well as haters. Those who are not fans of Crocs believe that they're the ugliest shoes in the world, while those who are on Team Crocs often own numerous pairs and are not ashamed to wear them, gibbets and all. In addition, Crocs said that they broke their previous revenue record in 2023 by bringing in $3 billion in sales within that 1 year. But precisely how did these shoes with such an odd appearance get to such dizzying heights? Let's find out. Where it all started. After co-founders Scott Siemens, Lyndon Hansen, and George Bodebecker Jr. went sailing in Mexico in 2002, Siemens showed his two pals a boating clog he'd been working on with a Canadian business called Foam Creations. This was the beginning of the Crocs brand, which was shown to the rest of the globe the following year. Croslite is a new form of resin that is odor resistant in addition to being lightweight, and it was used to make the shoe. So they were persuaded by the shoe's usefulness and the ease with which it operated both on land and in water, much like the semi-aquatic reptiles that would serve as the inspiration for the brand name, despite the fact that they first thought the shoe was hideous. Thus, the clog quickly gained popularity among cooks, gardeners, nurses, and children, but it also quickly gained popularity with casual wearers like Jennifer Garner, Oprah, and Michelle Obama. In 2005, Crocs was able to sell 6 million pairs of its shoes. During the same year, Sherry Schmelzer came up with the method to personalize the footwear of her children. Gibbets, also known as little ornamental charms, was the end product of this process. These charms were inserted into the perforations of the shoe. In the following year, Crocs ultimately decided to acquire Gibbets for the sum of $10 million. Ugly shoes to billions empire. Despite the fact that they were sweeping the footwear business by storm, many still had the impression that Crocs were ludicrous shoes. But when it comes to Crocs, one might argue that there is a distinct boundary between financial success and coolness. Nonetheless, these two qualities are not incompatible with one another. When Crocs was making its first hundreds of millions of dollars, there weren't many fashion-conscious 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds wearing them. However, Crocs sales were at an all-time high. On the other hand, Crocs were featured in the list of the 50 worst inventions that Time magazine compiled in 2010. Other items on the list included tanning beds, Segways, and asbestos. I remember when they came out and people were just mad for them, but it was a non-generational embrace, recalls Elizabeth Semmelhack, director and senior curator at the Bata Shoe Museum. They weren't exactly considered to be the next cool fashion trend that was going to take over, but they were being embraced as a really new and interesting kind of footwear. However, Crocs are the footwear of choice for many celebrities these days, including Nicki Minaj, Ariana Grande, and Kendall Jenner. The most recent viral image to feature Justin Bieber as a meme is the singer donning sweatpants and Crocs. Additionally, the company has recently formed relationships with both Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan, neither of whom were ever spotted wearing the brand's products when club hopping all over the city of LA 20 years ago. Also, on TikTok, the hashtag Crocs has been viewed more than 10 billion times. How did Crocs become so trendy? One might argue that a chain of events acted as a spark, leading to people thinking that Crocs are hip. The transition was twofold, as stated by Lucy Thorley, who serves as the Global Vice President of Trend, Consumer Design, and Product for Crocs. First, Thorley notes that younger customers are flocking for Crocs shoes, namely college students and high school students who engage in sports teams or school organizations. This emerging trend showcased the growing popularity of Crocs as an expressive statement, not just a practical shoe. Thornley adds, the second aspect is the relationship with the designer. Christopher Kane became the first designer to work with the footwear company in 2017, which Thornley refers to as a defining moment in the climb to prominence for Crocs. Christopher wanted to take something ordinary and make it extraordinary, and in doing so, he shifted the perception of our classic clog from practical to fashion-ready. Thornley continues, the shift gave people an invitation to boldly express themselves while also knowing that they could be on trend and comfortable at the same time. According to Thornley, this is the primary factor that contributes to the popularity of Crocs and results in recurring business for the company. New era for Crocs. In addition, Balenciaga pushed the Croc to a higher level quite literally shortly after the Christopher Kane collaboration by producing a 4-inch platform edition that retailed for $850 more than the previous version. Thornley stated, "It was about this time that I started to look at Crocs in a new light and began to entertain the possibility that maybe, just perhaps, Crocs might be considered fashionable. Since that time, Crocs has collaborated with a plethora of well-known designers and cultural influencers, including Liberty London, Vivian Tam, Takashi Murakami, Justin Bieber, SZA, Bad Bunny, Post Malone, Diplo, and the Wu-Tang Clan, among many others. Not to mention the innumerable commercial relationships which have included everyone from KFC to MSCHF to Lisa Frank to Barbie to Benefit Cosmetics to Hidden Valley Ranch to General Mills and even Clueless, which served as the personal gateway drug into the Crocs-verse." Semohack highlights the 2021 cooperation that Salehi Bembury, a former designer for Versace, worked on as a notable highlight. According to Semohack, it was his innovative design that really put Crocs on the cutting-edge fashion map. His design included a ridged pattern that resembled fingerprints. The hardships. Crocs has not always had an easy time with things. It had a setback during the economic downturn that began in 2008, but it was able to recover and continue on its path to success until the same thing occurred in 2012 when sales in international markets came in lower than anticipated. The partnerships, which Thornley describes as being instrumental in the process of boosting Crocs' image, are what make the difference between then and today. Another instance when sales of Crocs had a significant uptick was during the COVID-19 epidemic, which occurred around the same time as the publication of the Bembury collaboration. Since 2019, Crocs' yearly sales are said to have increased by a staggering 200%, as reported by the New York Times. However, these were not the only ugly shoes on the market that saw an increase in sales. Crocs and other comfort shoes such as Uggs, Tevas, Birkenstocks were able to shine as customers sought for more leisure wear and lockdown-friendly designs. It was also the ideal occasion for many people who had previously been opposed to Crocs to change their minds and embrace the holy clog way of life. How customers feel about Crocs. Tina Estrella, a content developer, made the decision to purchase her first pair of Crocs, an orange pair, only for usage inside the home. "This was the drug that got me started," she jokingly says. "When I first put them on, my first thought was, I'm simply gonna wear them around the house. And then before you know it, you're wearing them to the supermarket and you're matching them with outfits," she added. Also, Estrella made a pair of shoes with a Halloween motif once autumn arrived and shared them on her Instagram, where they received a positive reception from the people who follow her. Then, she crafted goth Crocs, which had a chain, spikes, and frightening gibbets. These were a riff on a meme depicting a man waiting in line for Auntie Anne's pretzels while wearing spiked black Crocs. On TikTok, a video of Estrella's do-it-yourself project became viral, accumulating more than 500,000 views. But that's not all. Crocs are now one of Marissa Ravel'S favorite shoes, despite the fact that she confesses to having made fun of them when they were originally introduced. Marissa Ravel is the owner and creative director of the fashion accessories business Laser Kitten. "At the time, I thought they were the most repulsive-looking shoes I had ever seen," she explains. "My friends and I would send memes to each other mocking how uncool they were. Now, Ravel has 3 pairs of earrings, all of which are adorned with charms that she has created, for the most part herself. The bedazzled baby Croc earrings that Ravel fashioned out of keychains are one of the most well-known examples of Ravel's work in the field of jewelry design. I love to mix high-end and low-end materials, so I added sparkling rhinestone chains as well as cubic zirconia and pearl heart studs," she explains. When Ravel restocks the Crocs earrings, they are quickly purchased by customers and gone again. In addition, Michelle, a freelance content producer, and Mark, Michelle's Crocs-obsessed husband, recently presented her with her very first pair of Crocs. On the other hand, she held off until she saw that all of her co-workers at a cafe were wearing them, at which point she gave in and bought a pair for herself. "I got the classic white Crocs and I've never looked back," she adds. "Once I started wearing them to work, that's when I started to notice that everyone else was wearing them in a variety of styles. Because I liked the look of those shoes so much, and because my good buddy had a pair of platform ones, I purchased a pair of cream-colored ones for myself," she said. These days, Michelle wears them to upscale restaurants, the beach, or even when she's simply lounging around the home. She and Mark also often give them out as presents. Tell us what you think about Crocs and whether you're on the hater squad or the Crocs team in the comment section below. And if you are a fan, how many pair of Crocs do you got in your collection? And that wraps things up. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Please hit the subscribe button and we'll see you in the next one.